You know what I keep hearing from leaders? And these people are very smart, very capable, accomplished leaders who have built teams, driven results, and made things happen. They tell me, I keep on hearing that they can't boldly and proudly talk about how great their product is, how great their service is, what is it impacts, because they think that is not being humble or because they think that is not being modest. And they want to be humble and modest people. What is really happening, they are hiding, they are hedging. They're playing this weird game where they act like what they do, what they stand for, what they have built. It's somehow shameful. Like, what the hell is that about? And here is the kicker, right? The same leaders are then frustrated because they can't close the big deals. They can't attract the A players to their team. They can't get the partnerships that they need, but they can't raise the funds or the capital that they need. Well, no shit, right? If you're not able to talk about what you are building, what you are doing, its impacts, what you want to create, how you want to contribute to the world, right? How can you win that game that you're even afraid to play? Can you see that? Can you see the paradox here? Like founders, leaders of companies who want to lead, they jump in, they become leaders because they want to win, because they want to be successful. And yet somehow this notion that speaking, talking about what they can do for their customers, for an employee, sounds like arrogant or not modest, which stops them from even playing the game that what their role, what their responsibility is exactly for. I'll give you a real example. I had a conversation with a CEO last week, and this guy has built a company that is literally changing how people work. Revolutionary stuff. It can change the entire people department, the people structure, how people interact, how people are motivated, how people are rewarded. It can change everything. Now they are 15 million today in revenue and they are growing fast, they are growing steadily. But when I asked him about his next funding round, when I asked him about the next big customer, the founder told me that, well, I am relationship building and not directly asking for the partnerships or for the funding. I don't want people to think that I'm being too aggressive about the vision. Like, too aggressive? Like, about your vision, which is contributing and which will make life better? Like, can you be too aggressive for the vision that is yours, first of all, and that will impact positively the person that you're talking to? And this is the thing that you created from nothing, from the ground up. Like this defeats me. Give you another example. Just happened a couple of weeks ago. A brilliant leader, incredible solution for manufacturing, which is more sustainable than what is out there. Right? Something new, game-changing technology. I don't even understand the nuts and bolts of it. But now she is worried about coming on too strong when she talks to potential partners. Obviously, she needs distributors, she needs partners to allow their manufacturing, the products that they are manufacturing, to spread across the country. And she is worried about coming on too strong. She has got Fortune 500 companies, she has got real big companies who are massively in their growth phase, their products that they are building which are more sustainable, but she is tiptoeing when she is reaching for partnerships, like she is asking for a favor. Like she is talking about coming on too strong. Like you're trying to save the planet, you're trying to change an entire industry, make it more sustainable than it has ever been, and you will help them save money, you will make good money yourself, and you are worried about coming on too strong. That's just shame hiding as disguise of like, I can't be like too loud, I can't be too proud, I can't speak clearly, because how will that look? That's just shame disguised as all of those niceties that we hide behind. And I want to ask you, right, as leaders, as human beings, when did we decide that being passionate, speaking clearly, speaking with passion about what we do, what we stand for, and being proud of what we have built and expressing it like very clearly, like when did that become embarrassing? Like when did that become shameful? When did that become too much? Like if you are a heart surgeon, if you are a brain surgeon, would you apologize for saving lives? You would be proud of that, right? If you're doing groundbreaking research as a scientist, would you hide that? Or would you be proud of that? If you are a firefighter, would you hedge about running into burning buildings, or will you talk about it? This is what I do. But somehow in the business world, right, in the corporate world, especially where profits, where money is involved, we have created this weird culture where being confident about your own capabilities with proof, with data, with results is seen as arrogance. Like where being clear about what your value is seen as pushy. Where actually trying to sell something, the thing that keeps your company alive, is seen as shameful. And then we wonder why mediocre competitors are winning deals. Then we wonder why B players are getting hired instead of coming to work for us. Then we wonder why investors are actually writing checks to other companies, maybe with inferior projects, than to us. So let me just tell you something about selling. And I mean real human face-to-face selling, right? Which every leader has to do. Not just selling a product, not just exchanging money as a transaction, but like for a leader, everything is selling. Whether you are raising funds, whether you are hiring somebody, whether you are convincing your team about a new strategy, everything is selling. And I want you to hear this about selling, right? This is not about all the sales models and frameworks. This is about real selling, right? Every great leader is a salesperson, every single one. And you think Steve Jobs was not selling when he was convincing John Sculley to leave Pepsi and join Apple? Like when he said, do you want to sell sugar water all your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world? Like that was being bold. Like for a CEO of a failing company, Apple at that time was failing. And for that company to go and talk to John Sculley and say that, do you want to save the world? Like that's not a framework, right? That is not a framework. That's like looking deep into someone's heart and making an inspired call to excellence for them, for you, and for so many others who will benefit from what you will bring into existence. And you think that Oprah was not selling when she pitched her talk show, and you think that Jeff Bezos was not selling when he left his Wall Street job to start Amazon. You think that any founder, any leader you admire today was not selling or was hedging themselves or was being too polite and not speaking about what they want to do with boldness, with proudness, in no unequivocal terms? Do you think that these people who built something great, whether in the business world or outside of it, they built that by being humble and just hoping people would notice, people will just line up to their front door? See, here is what leadership, here is what selling actually is. It is being so convinced of your product, it is being so convinced of your service that what you have will make somebody's life better, that you are willing to risk them saying no to make sure they have a chance to say yes. Right now, by not speaking powerfully, you are not even giving them a chance to understand the value of what you are offering and them to say yes to that. That is it. That is the whole game. You believe in your product so much, not as a strategy, but genuinely, that you're okay being seen as aggressive if somebody thinks so, arrogant if somebody feels like that, or whatever else that you worry about, so that your product or service actually touches as many lives as possible, because of which you are here in the role that you have today. But we have turned it into this shameful thing where somehow asking for what you want, a partnership, an investment, a hire, a deal, is imposing on people. Like that's silly. And I watch leaders struggle with partnerships all the time. They know that they need strategic alliances. They know that they need to create those win-win scenarios that will accelerate their growth, but they approach it like they are asking for charity. I worked with a CEO who had developed this incredible AI platform for healthcare. Hospitals were desperate for what this person had built. But every time he went into partnership meetings, he would start with, I know you are busy and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but maybe there is a way we could work together. Like maybe, like I know you are busy, I don't want to take up, like you want, like if you really believe in your product, right, you want them to sit down and listen, get it in their bones that what you have will dramatically change what they are doing, but also impact so many people's lives. This guy had got technology that could save lives and reduce costs of hospitals by millions. And then he starts a conversation with maybe. In the end, right, I finally told him, right, stop asking for permission to help them. Start demanding, right, that they pay attention. So you know what he did in the next meeting that he had on the calendar? He walked in and said that I have got a solution which will cut your readmission rates by 30% and your cost, administrative cost, by 40%. And here is how we can work together. Like very simply, no maybes, no would you like to, like this is how we will start. What do you think? What concerns do you have? I want to help you. Let's get started. Like that was his language. And guess what happened? They signed the deal. Like this used to normally take like a 3 to 6 months of a sales cycle, and he reduced that to 2 meetings, which happened over 2 consecutive weeks. I want you to see that this is possible for you. But you have to be not being shameful about what you have built and be able to talk about it with pride, with authenticity, with honesty, with a beaming smile on your face, even at the risk of looking arrogant or like too excited about or whatever you worry about. The same happens with fundraising, right? You know why most founders, especially when I work with founders, why they struggle with fundraising, talking to investors? Because they think that they are asking for money. You are not asking for money. You are offering the investor an opportunity to come be a part of your journey. You're not asking for anything. And the best investors that I know, the one writing the big checks, they don't want to hear about your humility. They want to hear about how you are like going to change the world. They just don't want to hear about how you are trying to build a nice little business. They want to hear about your obsession. They want to hear about your certainty, not maybe, is most likely, is probably in your language. They want to hear about your absolute conviction that what you are building will change everything. Now, I get very animated talking about this because I spend a big part of my career, like maybe more than 3/4 or 4/5 of my career playing small. There were brilliant ideas in my head, revolutionary approaches to leadership, what should be done, what can we do. But I was so worried about how that might look, what people might think. What if, like I thought, what if they think I am arrogant? What if they think I am out of place? What if they think that I am too much? And you know what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened because I never talked about them, or I never talked about them with weight so that people would actually listen, because I was so busy protecting my ideas from judgment that I never even gave them a chance to change anything. What I am doing now, I sat on that for 8 long years before actually starting it. 8 long years. Like I have been in business for 5 years now doing this, and I sat on that for 8 long years before starting it. And I was making it all about me. In the meanwhile, like businesses were suffering from bad or poor toxic leadership. People kept leaving jobs like because of toxic bosses. Teams kept falling because nobody had the courage to lead differently. And I was too silent, and I was not like, I was too timid. I was a coward to really speak about, okay, what could be done here? In a way, I was part of the problem. I became part of the problem when I knew what was the right thing to do, and I kept my mouth shut. Now, not because I was a bad leader, but because I was hiding. This is being a human being. This is not something wrong. This is not something bad. This is just being a human. But at the same time, I was part of the problem. Let's come to hiring. Now, here is what most leaders do not understand about hiring top talent. A players don't want to work for soft-spoken leaders who can't even speak proudly about what they are building. They want to hear conviction in your voice. They want to work for leaders who are building something that matters, and they can speak it in a way that it inspires the room. And you think that the best people at Google or take any other company, they joined because the founders were humble about their search algorithm, right? You think that top talent at Tesla like came because Elon was not talking about going to Mars or like saving the planet like from fuels because he was being humble, but was he speaking in too small of a language? See, I want to be honest and direct with you. And this is coming from my experience, but also my experience in the last 5 years supporting 30 to 60 CEOs out there. Hiring is a constant challenge, and hiring is one of the most important things you can do as a leader. So it is very important for you to hear this. The best people want to work with those who are absolutely certain that they are going to win. And they are also not afraid to talk about their fears. They are not afraid to talk about the uncertainties, but their language gives confidence. Their language inspires energy. They want to work for leaders, like the best people out there. They want to work for those who paint a picture of a future that is so compelling, so clear, so inevitable. They want to become a part of that journey. The best leaders can create that story. And that, let me tell you, that story does not involve maybes. That story does not involve, I think, most likely, probably, or any of these words that we use to hedge ourselves. So if you are hedging your vision, if you are apologizing for your ambition, if you are playing small with your purpose, why would anyone exceptional want to follow you? Like, that's a question you need to ask yourself. And again, right, I'm speaking to you because what you do matters. The problems that you solve, the people that you serve, the change that you're trying to create, that is not just business. It matters. It is sacred work. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are a leader, then you have been given a gift, and it is a gift to see solutions where others can't see, right? To build things that others can't build, to take roles or like being a CEO, which have real responsibility, which a lot of people would not even say yes to, right? That's a gift. then hiding that gift is not humility, it's selfishness. And there is this story in the Bible. I think it is very relevant to like your gifts. Like this is your gift. What you bring to the table as an entrepreneur is your gift. As a professional, whatever that you are good at, that is your gift. And the story in the Bible goes like this. I think it's called the parable of the talents. It's like there's a one person who is going out somewhere and he gave to his 3 servants different amounts of his talents, right? And talents can be a skill and expertise. When he came back, he saw that 2 of the people had actually used those talents. So they had grown the impact of the talents. The talent have become even better. And one person has basically hidden their talents because somebody might steal my talent, right? So he was protecting them until the main man would come back. So he was too afraid to lose it if he were to do something with it. And the master basically said, you don't deserve that talent and I am going to take it back. I gave you a talent so that you can grow it. You can use it. Similarly, whatever gift you have, right, it is yours to be spoken about. It is yours to be used to go out there in the world, right? If you don't use your gifts, it will be taken away from you. If you don't speak up about the product, the company, or what you are offering to your employees, to the world out there, it will go down. Whatever you're good at, that's meant to be used, that's meant to be shared. Your gifts are meant to be shared. That's not just your job, that's not just your responsibility as a leader. That's almost like for me to say that's your sacred duty. There's a Sanskrit word called dharma. That's your dharma. That's your sacred duty. Like for example, if you're good at music, then playing music, might not have to play it professionally, but just playing music, having fun, letting it out is your sacred duty. It is your dharma. Similarly, if you're good at business, if you're good at caring for people, if you're good at making bold bets out there, and if you're good at finances, if you're good at marketing, whatever that is, sharing about it, talking about it boldly, unapologetically, without guilt, without shame, that's your sacred duty in the world out there. That is your dharma. And every day that you play small, every day that you hedge, every day that you hide behind false humility, you are burying your gifts, your talents into the ground. See, in the end, no matter how you speak, whether you speak boldly or whether you speak almost with maybes, some people will never get it. Some people will always reject you, and some people will think that you are too much. But what I would say to that is, so what? Let people think what they think. You think Gandhi worried about being too much when he took on the British Empire? You think somebody like Martin Luther King, do you think he was hedging his message when he stood, I think it was the Lincoln Memorial, right, where he stood and he talked about all of his dreams? You think any leader who ever changed anything spent their time to make everybody around them comfortable? And I was talking about myself earlier, right? So I still get scared. Every time I'm about to make a big ask, even record a video like this, right? It's uncomfortable. I get scared. I have all of those worries and concerns that you might have when you talk about your business, your products, right? Whenever you talk about your revolutionary idea, I still have that voice in my head, like, who do you think you are? Like, what will people think? What will people assume? But you know what I've learned? That fear is not a stop sign, right? I don't have to stop. They are not even true. I don't have to believe all of those statements. But I would say that your fear is your compass, especially if you are a leader, if you're doing something meaningful. Your fear is your compass. Instead of starting to run away from it, start moving towards it, and you will see wonders will happen, right? Your fear is pointing you towards exactly what you need to do, not what you need to avoid. Because the bigger the fear, the more important that action is. So after 5 years of working with CEOs and founders and getting in depth into everything that they deal with, right? Here is what I have figured out. Here is what I know about deals, partnerships, investors, clients, hiring, all of that. They don't want to work with people who are kind of excited about what they do, right? They don't want to partner with leaders who maybe have a solution, and they don't want to invest in visions or future dreams that come with disclaimers like only if so and so. People want to work with leaders who can walk into a room with absolute certainty and honesty, right? Authenticity, who don't hide the facts, even if they are difficult facts, but who can say, this is what I am building, this is why it matters, and this is how you fit into it. These are the challenges, and this is what we are going to accomplish together. Like people who can speak like that, right? Not like, I think we might be able to help you. This is who I am. This is what I am building. This is what we are here to do. This is how you can contribute. If we work together, this is how it might look. What do you think? If you have any concerns, let's talk about that. See, very simple, right? Very direct, very powerful. Doesn't have to be bold or arrogant, but you have to be willing to speak about it unapologetically and matching the gravity of your message with the gravity of what you have been doing. So here is what I am asking you to do. Stop apologizing for your ambition. Stop hedging your vision. Stop playing small with your ideas. That partnership that you have been thinking about, make that call. That investor meeting that you have been putting off, schedule it and ask for what you want and give them an opportunity to partner with you on your journey. That bold hire that you know that you want to make, ask that person. Even if you have to ask somebody to join at a lower salary or to do some other arrangement, ask it, right? Ask with boldness. Justify it to them. Tell them why this would be a great opportunity, even if they have to take a pay cut here. Right? And again, that client that you think is too far ahead or too big for you, go for it. Unless you go for it, you might never even find out people who are ready for you today. Once again, right, as you listen to this, take action on this. Do what you know you have to do, not someday, not tomorrow, right now, not when you feel ready, not when you have it all figured out. Today, every day that you hesitate, every day that you play small, that's another day. Your competition is out there, right, being bold. That's every day that you're falling behind, and you're not doing anybody any service by being humble, by being polite and not talking about the truth of what you're building. Especially in the world that we live in, if you're really coming from a heart-centered place, if you're really building something that is very important in the world, then the world really does not need another leader who plays it safe. The world needs you, right, in all your authenticity, passion, boldness, the real you, the bold you, right, the one who has something important to say and the courage to say it. Because your people, your customers, your investors, your partners, your co-founders, your employees, all of those people are waiting. And more importantly, the mission that you are on, the purpose that you are on, the future that you have seen, that you want to create is actually waiting for you to stop hiding and for you to start leading. The only question is, what are you going to do next? After watching this video, the only question is, are you going to wait for the right time, the right confidence, the right energy, or are you going to pick up the phone, pick up your email and schedule that call, have that conversation and ask for what you want, even if that is unreasonable, even if that is scary, even if that is uncomfortable, or even if that brings up more fear. Once again, as always, the choice is yours. Thank you for listening and choose powerfully going forward.